Hey everyone, Ariel Adams here with a blog to watch. Today I'm going to review the Fortis Novonaut N-42 with the cobalt blue dial on their block bracelet, as they call it. This is a pretty exciting watch. Fortis has been reinventing some of its old designs recently, and this watch is really the thematic successor to the cosmonaut watch that was famously worn by Russian cosmonauts and had a lot of space activity, and was a cool watch for many years. And the Novonaut is a thematic successor to this whole generation of those chronograph style sort of pilot sport watches. It comes with a black dial. I thought the blue was sort of interesting here, and I think what's sort of interesting about this overall, it is a larger watch, is the combination of taking that old, I'll call them instrument dial look, trying to make it feel fresh, trying to add a higher end feel to it so it has that instrument look but also feels like a luxury object, maintaining a sense of brand identity, masculinity. And so there's a lot of interesting things that sort of went into what they did here, and they tried to pack really as many features as they could. There's also a strap which is available for this watch, and I think it's less expensive on the strap, but it's hard not to go with a bracelet because it's sort of a cool bracelet. So let's start with just the overall specs here of this timepiece. It begins with, you can see here, that's a bi-directional rotating bezel. That's more sort of pilot style than dive style. The case is in steel, brushed steel, and it has a very chunky look. It's on the thicker side. There's an interesting black colored ring there under the bezel, which is just an interesting design element there. Big exposed screws is sort of another part of this. So they really wanted to go with sort of this maximalist look. They say the case is 42 millimeters wide, but the bezel is 44 millimeters wide. You can see it's a little bit on the wider side there, that bezel. So does it wear like a 42? Does it wear like a 44? I don't know. It wears large for sure. It is heavier watch. And if you wear this watch, you're going to want to wear it snug, whether it's on the bracelet or on the strap. You can see here there's a nice micro adjust in the bracelet here. So that is a nice feature to have. We also have here a ceramic insert. So it's blue, of course, to match the dial. And an interesting feature of the dial, which I like, is this sort of stepped rehaut. So you have the main dial, and then you have the rehaut, which is sort of this flange ring there, and it has a scale on the top of it and on the side of it, which is a very uncommon thing. And then you have the seconds hand for the chronograph that follows right on top of that, and the placement of the hands, such as the hour hand, really goes to the precise thing. So if you are one of those, I'll call them instrument watch aficionados, which I am, you're really going to like the idea that you can look closely here and you can see how the hands really just touch up against the markers and indicators. It's very, very satisfying. You can see that the hour markers are blocks, and those are blocks of loom. So there's a really good amount of loom on this. So they tried to just, make it as instrumenty as possible for aficionados. The movement they call the Work 17, which is an interesting movement. I think they made a fun promotion where they sent a bunch of these to space. We have a big article on that on the blog to watch, which was fun. They wanted to space test them. It's sort of like a beefy 7750. It's not exactly the same. It's got a larger amount of power over, I think, 60 hours, 6 hertz. And I like how there's little differences here. For example, I like on the day and the date discs, they're a little bit smaller than they otherwise are, which actually makes them less legible, but it sort of looks cooler because it makes the frames look a little bit more substantial. So this is sort of a design lover's watch in a lot of ways. I realize I haven't even put it on yet there. Again, it has a very nice sort of fit and finish to it, and it is comfortable. I love and have loved these types of chronograph instrument dials for a long time, and if you just haven't had this on your wrist in a while, this is sort of a nice modern take on it. If you have one of the older ones, this is going to be different feeling because there's a lot more modern elements to it. So it's this mixture of things that you would expect in a modern watch in terms of, the materials, ceramic bezel, high water resistance, micro adjust, modern movement, with a watch that very much looks like it was birthed in the past. And I think that's really quite interesting, and Fortis did a really good job there. It's not cheap. Price for the Fortis Novonaut N-42 Cobalt Blue Edition on the block bracelet is $5,250, but this is a much more substantial and well-made watch than a lot of the stuff that even the brand did in the past. So it's worth taking a look at, and you can see the full review of the Fortis Novonaut on the blog2watch.com website. Thanks.